Hey guys, it's Kelsey, and today I have a double challenge. The first part is for the Secret Kit Club to use a mood board based off of a video game. That was the one I chose there for one of the Mario games. And the second part is for Mercy Tiara's monthly challenge. This one was set by Betsy. We needed to use a square pick that made your heart beat faster. We were not allowed to use hearts. We had to use a background paper that read as a solid. We had to use pink and red, a border strip, and wood veneer. So lots going on in this one. I really liked the color scheme of that mood board that the Secret Not Secret Kit Club gave us because it was outdoorsy colors, but it included the pink and the red. So I really enjoyed that. I found the square photo here that I just happened to be a collage of geocaches. Me and my sister used to go geocaching all the time, which if you don't know what that is, it's basically real life treasure hunting. You can download a free app and search your local area for geocaches, and it will give you the location, and then you have to go and find it. So it's a lot of fun. Most of them are just a log, like a piece of paper and a pen, and you just write your name, what date you found it. And it's pretty cool just to keep track of how long they've been out and see everyone who's found it. But a lot of times there's something that actually has a box or something with treasure in it. So the idea is you take one thing out and you put one thing in, and then there's a log where you can write your name and your date and what you took and what you put in it. So it's a lot of fun. I thought it was appropriate for this challenge because your heart really does get going as you're out in the woods trying to find something. It's a very safe version of an adventure, but still thrill-seeking. So this particular collage of photos were all the geocaches that me and my sister found around Lake Ackworth, which is very close to where we live. So yeah, I wanted to document that, get your heart racing. It wasn't something, related to someone I love, but more of an activity. So I thought that was fun. I also like that I'm wearing a red tank top in the photos, but one of the geocaches is in a pink egg. So I also like that the red and the pink are represented in the photo itself. I did pull out one of these neutral wood grains that's in that big paper pad my sister had sent me for Christmas. And then I'm also using this smaller paper pad. Let me grab it. What is it called? Pink Paisley's Outfitters that Lisa sent me. So I've been hoarding this little 6x6 paper pad. It is so cute. So many outdoorsy pictures. I was kind of trying to hoard it for my next camping and hiking trip. But I thought it went so good with these pictures and with the color scheme that I went ahead and pulled it out. You saw me take out almost half of the pattern papers there to work with. I really liked the dark blue constellation, the deep wood grain, but I also wanted to make sure I pulled out some of the pattern papers that had pink and red in them since that was part of Betsy's challenge. So the main pink and red ones is that mountain, the triangle pattern, and also one of these plaids has pink and red, but I don't think I end up using that one. There is also a cut apart that has pink and red that I'll end up pulling, and you see it there, the Get Lost With Me. So I really like that there are elements that incorporated pink and red on the same element. Otherwise, I think I would have had a hard time mixing and matching those two colors. So it's nice that I am working with a paper pad that already incorporated both of them on the same papers. So that's nice. I also had a cut apart that said find your true north. It was just a little compass on a wood grain, so I did fussy cut that out too. I actually think I just used a circle punch. But here I am just trying to cut off the perforations for some of these papers that I know I'm going to use the whole thing. And then you can see me looking at this mountain paper. I'm contemplating trying to fussy cut these mountains to use as a border strip. Since a border strip was one of the other elements on Betsy's thing, I thought it would be really cool if I could fussy cut this mountain line to have as a border strip. So I'm thinking about that. First, I'm just going to get a couple of mats on my photo. So I matted it in this scrap piece of an old white card that I had. I'm running low on my white scraps, and I really didn't want to cut into one of my nice white cardstocks. So I just matted it on that. And then I matted it in the blue constellation and then on this green plaid. I really think these colors look really nice with the photo in particular. I thought originally that this was going to be more on the pink and red tone with accents of these green and blues, just because I wanted it to be pink and red for Betsy's challenge. But the more I get going, all my favorite papers I really want to pull in are the browns and the blues and the greens. So I'll make sure I'll get pink and red on here, but they aren't as prominent as I would have liked them. But here you can see me fussy cutting this mountain. I think that's really sweet, and I like that it emphasizes that it looks like mountains by just fussy cutting a line of them out. So I'm doing that really quick. I'm kind of starting my layers off like I like to do when I have a 4x4 and I want to do lots of layers. So I started by matting the photo a couple times, and now I'm branching out with some horizontal pieces. I kind of realize as I get going that it's looking very similar to a lot of the other pages, because this is a very go-to design for me, especially when I have a single photo. So you can see where it starts to go in the direction I usually go when I am in this situation, and I end up changing it up at the end and come up with something a little bit different for me. So I'm really excited about that. I really enjoy doing my go-to designs because they're fun and they're comfortable, and I enjoy the process of them, but at the same time I don't want all of my pages to look the same. So I like that I ended up changing this a little bit by the end. But I think I'm almost done fussy cutting. I'm not quite sure where I went. I know I was worried that this line of mountains wouldn't be considered a border strip. So I do end up going in with a border punch and punching another horizontal piece to layer behind the mountains. So I made sure I had an actual border strip along with this line. I don't know why I was worried these mountains wouldn't count as a border strip, but that's why I ended up going in with the second line. So you can see kind of where I'm thinking of that mountain coming out. I want to stretch it on either side of the photo, but I'm not quite sure. I think I leave it pretty much how it is there. But here I'm going in with my second pattern paper. I love this dark wood grain that has this white pattern all over it, and I'm using my zigzag border punch to cut my zigzag into it. And you can see that skinny offcut there. I do end up saving that. I don't know why. Usually I throw away the offcuts of these border punches, but I do end up using that tiny little offcut later in the page. So I just wanted to mention that now while you saw it. But there you go. I have my zigzag, and I like how that looks layered behind the mountains. It also makes that horizontal piece look a little bit more substantial, because these mountains, while they are really cute, was a little dinky. And so I think layering it on top of this wood grain helps that be a little bit more substantial. So yeah, I have my few horizontal pieces, so I wanted to layer up a little bit more around the photo. So I do have this, I don't even know what you call it. It's basically a map, but there's lots of little symbols on it, and it just really reminded me of geocaching. The phone gives you the exact location, longitude, and latitude, and it kind of gives you a starting point and tells you how many feet away you are from the geocache, and then it won't tell you exactly where it is though, just tell you how far away from it you are. So you kind of have to play the hot and cold game until you find it, and oftentimes we're right on top of it and we can't see it. So it's a really fun game, especially it's a really good fun family game too, because you get your kids out in nature and they get to actually treasure hunt. So I encourage anybody who's looking for family free activities to search geocaching, because I was surprised almost anywhere you go there are local geocaches. So it's a lot of fun. But you can see I use that map print. I thought that really reminded me of geocaching. I found this puffy sticker that is basically the same as the compass that's on that wood grain. I thought about layering them just so it's a little bit of dimension. But the sticker didn't completely cover the text on the wood grain, and I couldn't find a circle punch the right size enough to mat the puffy sticker and still not cover up all the wood grain. And honestly, I like the wood grain compass, so I just decided to leave it as is. And now you can see me using the scrap from where I fussy cut that wood grain circle and using it to mat this other cut apart piece, just so that wood grain's pulled in somewhere else. So yeah, I decided to move the compass and a couple layers to the upper right hand corner like I usually like to do. I really like how it brings those colors and patterns across the page. But since I moved the compass, I decided to put the Get Lost With Me piece down where the compass was, so I really like that. I really like that the pink and the red are front and center for Betsy's challenge, so I think that looks cute. Another thing I needed to use was wood veneer for Betsy's challenge, so I had a few feathers left over. I thought that would be a really nice thing to add on this outdoorsy page. So you can see me layering 2 there on top of that cut apart as well. Not quite sure what I do next. Oh yeah, I'm taking a scrap of that navy constellation and I'm going to just add a little bit more layers. I'm building my layers vertically a little bit. So I like that, and then you can see where I end up moving the cluster in the upper right hand corner over, and it kind of changes the whole dynamic of the page. So I really like that, but it takes me a minute to kind of figure out that that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and glue these feathers down, though I know I want them down there on that cut apart, and I'm going to go ahead and glue the cut apart down as well because I know that's where it's going to go. So next I pulled out these stickers. They're chipboard stickers that are matte print. So again, I thought that was very appropriate considering we're geocaching. We have to follow a map and coordinates and a compass and all that stuff. So I definitely thought those would be perfect for this title. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down my layers so that I can get my title on here. At first I think I'm just going to title it Geocatching. I thought that was a really great title. It spanned those layers perfectly. So I was super happy about that. But then the matte print on the thickers is much more creamy and yellow than the matte print that's on the paper layer around the photo. And it felt weird that that was the only place you were seeing this more yellow version of this map. So I decided to extend the title to below all the layers as well. So it ends up reading Geocaching Adventures, which spaced out beautifully. But that way the photos and the white version of the map is sandwiched between the title, and that just seems a lot more balanced to me. And it doesn't draw attention to the fact that the map prints are different colors because they're balanced in both areas. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. But I just love how perfectly this title spanned across the page. That was completely by accident, but that makes me happy. But now I'm seeing how all of these layers are turning out very square, building in this vertical column. And I kind of liked it. Usually I don't like that, but I'm really loving how it's very vertical and square. So I decided to pull those layers that were going to be in the upper right hand corner over above the title and continue that vertical line of sight. So I ended up centering up these 2 scraps that were offcuts from these layers and centering that compass over them and just having that on top of the page to continue that vertical column. And I think that looks really cool. That's totally not something I usually would do, but I'm really pleased by the end result. So now I'm just trying to figure out the spacing. I really want the green layers to be squared up, but because the green layer around the photo is offset, I was kind of battling with centering the green scrap with the other green piece of paper or centering it over the entire column with the title. So I end up wanting it all squared up, obviously, with my column. So I did just break it up a little bit by adding that little wood grain scrap back in so that it's not right next to the other green piece, if that makes sense. But you can see how I'm playing with trying to offset it and center it again. But there's that little offcut from my border punch that I saved, and that's going to make it on there just to add another layer in this vertical column. And then I'll end up gluing that piece that I just created at the top there. But you can see I added 2 wood veneer feathers in that other cluster. So I like that. That's there as well. I was feeling a little weird about only having wood veneer in one place. So I think that helps balance that detail. And then I also pull in my wolf pack puffy stickers, excuse me, because there's some cute little bears. The bears weren't really relevant, but the colors were relevant, and I have so many bears left on that puffy sticker sheet that I don't want to go to waste. So I did just pop 2 in this page. I thought they were appropriate because we're in the woods, so they made it on there. And then I decided to pop a few more puffy stickers from the Pink Paisley's Outfitter sheet on here. So I did get a compass on the photo, thought that was super appropriate, as well as this geo tag. Definitely appropriate since we're geocaching. So I needed a little bit of journaling just to explain what this is about. because I know what it's about, but I don't want to like put the location, and that I was with my sister and all that stuff. So that geotag kind of draws your eye to where my journaling is going to be. But all it says is Becca and I found an app on our phone that helped us geocache a real life treasure hunt. We found lots at Lake Ackworth. So just to get a little bit more details, but I think I'm almost done. We'll see. I do end up going around the entire outside with brown ink. If I was thinking about previously, I probably would have inked all of my layers in brown ink because it ends up looking really good, but it's not something I really thought about until the end. So I'm just going to run brown ink around the entire 12 by 12 and leave it at that because I'm not pulling all this stuff up to ink the edges. It'll be fine. But I think after that I'm done. So this was a really fun challenge. I love how the mood board ran into Mercy Tiara's challenge, and I like that I had a recipe to work with as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here are the close-ups, and if you want to play along, you can always join their groups. I will link them in the description. Thanks guys for watching. Bye.